Hey everyone, welcome back to Weather on the Go, all your weather coverage on this Friday, October 25th, 2024. And in this video, we're going to be going over what has been a very active past 24 hours. We're going to be looking ahead to more record-breaking high temperatures across parts of the United States, even heading into next week, and a look at the tropics. The tropical weather season is not done. We have more activity for early November. We're going to get to that later on in the video. So to make sure that you get the latest weather information right at your fingertips, make sure to subscribe to the channel down below, hit the bell notification button so you are notified when I do post a video or a live stream in the future. Also like the video, give it a thumbs up here, especially if you enjoyed it at the end, and also leave any comments, questions, and concerns below. We'll always get to those after my videos. What you're currently looking at here on this Friday is your storm reports. This was yesterday, and you can see we had a lot of hail and wind reports. The hail in the green, the wind in the blue here, and a lot of that was very abundant down near the Kansas City region yesterday. Thankfully, though, no tornadoes reported, and it really stemmed from scattered thunderstorms that developed across the upper and middle Mississippi Valley region Thursday evening, and kind of coalescing into a line from Lake Michigan, eastern Wisconsin, all the way down through northern Illinois, so the Rockford area, parts of Chicago, even down into the Davenport Quad Cities, down here into Jefferson City, Missouri, for example, did see some thunderstorms, and you probably got those big claps of thunder overnight here into your early Friday morning, and also some heavy rain, and it's beneficial rain that we did see across those areas. And in the wake of that line of storms, we did see a little bit of some milder air still hanging around in those areas in the 40s and 50s to start the morning. Cooler air, though, with some hard freezes across the Pacific Northwest, parts of the northern plains, into portions of the Dakotas, into the Black Hills region, for example, into the panhandle of Nebraska. Also some patchy frost with temperatures down in the low 30s across interior New England, upstate New York, for example, northern Pennsylvania, even up here into Vermont, New Hampshire as well. Well, unseasonable warmth will rule the roost in the forecast, especially if you live further to the south, across the Mid-South, the Southeast, or the Ohio, Tennessee River Valley this afternoon. And you can see where you have the square boxes around your high temperatures, that's where record highs are likely, if not expected, to be set this afternoon. And you can see upper 80s to near 90 this afternoon across a lot of Dixie Alley here and into the southeast. And it's ahead of that cold front, right? So as we go into today, more active weather across parts of the Great Lakes region could be bringing us some isolated scattered light showers, maybe a thunderstorm here as well. A lot of that will be fizzling out this afternoon and tonight, and a strong high pressure system will be in place across the central U.S. So radiational cooling at night, the sun sets earlier. That is setting the stage for a pretty chilly start to your Saturday. But looking at the weekend, we got a big ridge of high pressure across most of the United States, and that spikes all the way up there into southern Canada, into Alberta, into Saskatchewan and Manitoba. Meanwhile, a potent but large trough across the Northeast Pacific and British Columbia, Canada, will be diving into the Pacific Northwest later on this weekend, especially for Sunday, and we're going to tell you what that means here in just a moment. But looking at those warm temperatures, we're going to be seeing more record highs likely broken this weekend across portions of the United States. Here's your Saturday afternoon. Look at that. Phoenix. Yes, believe it or not, on October 26th, record high would be 98 or so. And then even down here along the Gulf Coast could be seeing highs in the upper 80s to near 90. Going into Sunday, we start to see a little bit more of that southerly component to the winds, and that could start to warm us up again across the Black Hills region of the Dakotas, into the Central Plains, the Northwestern Rockies, into the 70s for Sunday afternoon. More record highs again near the Gulf Coast, back into the desert Southwest near Phoenix. Looking at precipitation prospects for this upcoming weekend, tomorrow, this is on Saturday, double barrel area of high pressure that promises sunsplash skies for the weekend across most of the central U.S. Maybe some shower activity along that frontal boundary into Tennessee, back into central Arkansas. No all-day washouts, but definitely keep the umbrella handy because you may need it down there. Stronger trough, we were just talking about a large trough. Look at that, 967 millibar low pressure system into the Gulf of Alaska, the Northeast Pacific, and that's bringing a lot of snowfall into British Columbia and southern Yukon, Canada as well. on Saturday, and then as we go into Sunday, that's just going to continue with all that precipitation in the Pacific Northwest, Seattle, Portland, Northern California, and the heavier snows near Vancouver as we go into Sunday. So looking at the precipitation maps in inches this weekend, you can see the heaviest of which will be the Pacific Northwest and Western Canada with that trough. So Seattle, Portland, Eugene, Medford, those areas could be getting 1 to 3 inches worth of rain, and then bone dry again across the middle of the country. And look at the snowfall. It's going to be leading to some heavier snowfall amounts to British Columbia, outside the Vancouver area, especially in those higher elevations outside Vancouver. Could be seeing 3 to 4 feet of snow just this weekend in that 48-hour period. So that is something to keep an eye on. Now, going into next work week, Monday, October 28th through Friday, November 1st, we're going to have a big pattern change in the offing. We got a big ridge of high pressure out east, bringing us warmer temperatures and a big trough. And this trough is going to dive all the way down into northwestern Mexico and the Baja of California early next week as well. And in between, we're going to set up the battle zone between cool and warm temperatures. There's the warm temperatures, and yes, likely record warmth again across the middle of the country. And then we're going to have the cooler than normal temperatures and, much below average across these areas, across California, the Sacramento Valley, back here into Nevada, into Utah, into Arizona. We're going to be seeing cooler temperatures. And then the battle zone, as that trough starts to eject into the middle of the country, into the plains, early to middle part of next week, that's going to lead to a pretty strong jet stream. And that's going to lift all that moisture up from the Pacific and also the Gulf and actually lead to some rainfall. I know it's hard to believe because we haven't had a lot of it, but here we go. We're going to see the pattern change, trough coming in, and that's going to, scoop up a lot of moisture from the Pacific and the Gulf and squeeze it out like a sponge across the middle of the country. So let's walk you through this pattern. Monday, you can see that trough comes in across the west, dry in the central and eastern U.S. on Monday. Tuesday, mostly dry in the east, but we're starting to see a couple of low pressure systems developing, one up here near Minneapolis, one back near Denver, and these are going to work in tandem to produce some pretty heavy rainfall across the middle of the country, especially by Wednesday next week. Thursday, cold front comes through. Would not be shocked to see any severe weather out of the mix as well, when you have record high temperatures and then cooler air, and that clash of the air masses this time of year could lead to some heavy rain and some severe weather across the middle of the country. Then as we go into Friday, kind of a respite before another low pressure develops on the front range of the Rockies. That could be a new low pressure for next weekend that could spell out more heavy rain for the Midwest, the Great Lakes. So Chicago, Milwaukee, Des Moines, get ready as we go into next weekend. Rainfall is on the way there as well. But just for next week, Monday, October 28th through Friday, November 1st, going to be seeing some decent pockets of rain here across the middle of the country. Some areas may see less than others, maybe under a half an inch. There may be areas that see over 2 inches of rain. So consider yourself lucky here. This is like liquid gold at this point when we have a lot of drought ongoing across the middle of the country. Any rainfall, even if it's just a quarter of an inch, is definitely helpful. And looking at the snowfall, and we're going to be seeing a lot of that colder air coming down from Canada and into the Rockies with that trough. So that will turn the rainfall over to snow, especially in those higher elevations. Could be seeing some hefty amounts, over a foot here for Wyoming, down into western Colorado, and then even the Cascades seeing a couple of feet of snow into Washington State and Oregon next week too. Looking at the tropics, the National Hurricane Center in Miami, Florida, not outlining any areas to watch over the next week, over the next 7 days. It's pretty quiet out here, like a pin drop across the Atlantic Ocean for now, but the experts over there at the Climate Prediction Center are watching early November. So we have that pattern change across North America, and at the same time, we're going to lower the pressure underneath, and that could actually lead to a couple of weeks of active weather in the Caribbean. And you can see we have the ridge of high pressure, and synoptically, this is a great pattern for the tropics to become active again, because we have the higher pressure over the top, lowering of the pressure underneath in the Caribbean, and that will spell out by early November, Friday, November 1st, a change from the quiet tropics to more active tropics, and those water temperatures, those ocean temperatures are still very much alive and prevalent here across the Caribbean, very warm down here. So any system that can get going over the open water will quickly develop. Looking at some of the ensemble guidance, this is what you look at when you're about a week or two out from any type type of system trying to develop. Here's the European ensemble guidance. It is hinting at that here across the Caribbean. Will it be over land? Will it be over water? That's where it develops, if it even develops at all, is a question mark. The GFS ensemble is obviously more bullish here, as the GFS tends to be more bullish with tropical systems, but can't be ignored. We'll keep an eye on that. And then the CMC, the Canadian ensemble guidance, kind of in that same ballpark, but look at all the low pressure systems and how spread out they are. Some of them have them in the Eastern Caribbean, some of them in the Central Caribbean, some of them in the Western Caribbean, some of them north of the Greater Antilles. We just don't know if a system will develop for sure, and we don't know how strong, where it will be, so we'll continue to keep you updated right here on this channel. Thank you all for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel down below for the latest weather information right at your fingertips here 24/7 on this channel. Like the video down below by giving it a thumbs up, especially if you did enjoy it. I definitely appreciate that. And also leave any comments, questions, and concerns below. We'll get to those after the video, and I hope everyone has a wonderful rest of their Friday out there.